Dear chess friends, welcome to Rilton Cup round 2 in this anniversary edition, 50th anniversary for Rilton Cup. And we saw some interesting games yesterday, don't you think, Tony?
Yeah, it was a lot of really interesting and fascinating games yesterday. So let's hope for the same today.
Yeah, and we saw the 3 top guys winning their games. But already on board 4 we had a sensation. Nikita Meshkovs from Latvia, he lost to...
Yeah, and that was a very interesting game with a very fascinating move that really was a surprising move.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seemed that his opponent, Andrei Dubkov, had prepared something in the opening, and he got full payment for this new move.
It seemed to be a pawn sacrifice, but it really made excellent chances for White when he did the pawn.
Yeah. But let's go to today's round and see what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go to round 2, and we're gonna look at the games. And on board 1, we have this position. We have a young German player. I think he's only 19 years old. His name is Nils, very Swedish name, Nils Richter, and he plays against the highest rated Krishnan Sasikiran from India. And we have this position. This is your territory, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's still just in the opening, so let's see what will happen.
Yeah.
But this is a traditional game so far.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to board 2. And here we have Ilya Smirin playing against Sokolovsky. And we have a Reti opening. And in this type of position, one thing black can try to do is to play bishop g7, like this, and then later maybe play e5. If white does not play d4, of course.
Yeah, and if he plays d4, it's...
then we get into some sort of Catalan.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not Catalan, maybe it's more like a Grünfeld, symmetrical.
Yeah, perhaps.
Something like, yeah, it's difficult to say exactly what it is, but... Okay, so on board 3, we have Martin Percivaldi. I think he's from Denmark, but just to be sure, we are going to check that. So let's see now. Let's go here, and we click on him here. Let's see, no, let's go back. Yes, Percivaldi, it doesn't say. He's an international master.
Yeah, it was Denmark. We saw.
It was Denmark,
Yeah.
yes. He's a Danish player. And he plays against this guy from Croatia, who is quite young, Leon Livajic.
With a high ranking.
Yeah, high rated.
Yeah.
2572 Grandmaster. And let's look at the opening and see what we have. So we have, should do it like this. So it's Queen's Gambit with the bishop b4, the Ragozin line. And there are many ways to play here. Bishop g5, take on d5 and so on, but he plays queen a4. It's a move I've tried myself. Knight c6. And here white can play knight e5, but I think if you play knight e5 here, black plays bishop d7. I think you do that. And then if you think you're going to win something by taking here, black can take with check in between. And then he takes here.
With a good position.
And the black has no problems at all. The white has made a slight mistake playing this way. Black gets good bishop on c6, can take on c4 and so on. So instead White played, instead of playing this knight e5, which is a bit too simple, he played e3. Okay? And there was castling, bishop d2, and an exchange on c4. And here we are. Still theory. It will be interesting. It will be a fight. White has the center. But Black has ideas. One idea about Black can go for at some point. He doesn't have to take on c3. He could play for some idea like maybe moving the bishop back here and then again go for this e5 thing. This is one of the plans you can do.
Yeah.
So bishop d6 is actually one of the most common moves in this position. Should we go to the next game?
Yeah.
We're just surfing around a little bit, just to see. Oh, this is a line that I know I have played many times. Let's go from the beginning. So we have Erik Blomqvist, our Swedish grandmaster, very strong player. I think he's also a chess trainer, isn't he?
Yes, he's a chess trainer, and he's for one thing he's training in a school, Bromma.
Yeah.
Together with my son Jacob. So they have a every week training for young students in the years 16 to 18.
Yeah, I actually have a group of juniors in my club that I train twice a week. So it's nice teaching the young how to play.
And Georgios is from Greece, isn't he?
Yes, Georgios Souleidis. I don't know so much about him, but he has a decent rating here, 24-10. It will not be easy for Erik in this game, I'm sure. But let's see what happened here in the opening. So Erik played e4, he usually does. c5, knight f3, d6, d4, take, knight c3, and knight c6, the classical variation. And here Erik plays the move that is perhaps not the most popular today. I think the most popular move usually is to play bishop g5, the Richter-Rauser variation it's called. But Erik plays the Sosin variation, bishop c4. And I have played this move many times myself. And I think Black can play different moves here. One move is to play just e6, simple. But Black plays another very popular move here. This position once. My knight back is just possibly playing this for a quick development. I think those are the two main ideas here. So
yeah. And the quite young guy from Norway playing against Ralf Åkesson, who has been playing for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Also
Just-
been winning Rilton before.
yeah.
One of the winners.
Ralph, he made a great result when he managed to win the European Junior Championship way back.
Way back.
I don't know the exact year. I haven't remembered, but he was a junior. I mean, he's 20. Yeah. So to play d4, bishop e7. So a little twist here, not knight f6, but bishop e7. The idea is to prevent bishop g5, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. So he takes the pawn
So
on
he takes-
d5.
Yeah. And then you can play with bishop f4 instead. c6, e3. And now we have the exchange variation of the queen's gambit, I think it's called. And
Now it's an interesting move with g4.
Yeah. This is still well known. This is still the theory, but yeah, it's well known. So now, if you retreat here, then you at some point the bishop might be awkwardly placed, and there might be some type of problem. I don't know exactly what happens. Maybe you can play h4 immediately. I don't know. Is that possible? Maybe this is possible. If he takes, then this queen b3 here is good. Yeah, something like this. And if you try to protect with the queen, then you can take on h4. So the queen is somewhat.
You have to do b6 in this
Yeah,
position.
you have to play b6, and then you get weaknesses here on the white squares. So this is a small investment, and you open up the h file and so on, and you attack the pieces. So that's not so good. So in the game, of course, he played the bishop e6, much more solid. And then you can ask yourself, how good is the pawn here? Is it a good pawn, or what do you think? Do you like to play with pawns like this?
I don't do. I don't like
it.
it.
You've never had a pawn like that ever.
No, I don't like it. It's maybe too premature to have it like this.
Yeah, it's not bad, but
Yeah, but
in this situation, it's not so clear what it's doing. Of course, it can go forward at some point, and
Yeah.
maybe there is some problem developing the knight. But yeah, it's not so clear. Okay, he goes for h4.
Ah, interesting.
So Urkedal is clearly wants to create an immediate.
Will he take the pawn? Otherwise,
No, but then queen b3 is very unpleasant. I don't think you take it. Well, you can. I guess you can take it, but I don't know.
so what are the other options?
Well, I guess some developing move a knight, maybe knight d7 perhaps. Knight f6 looks a bit strange, because then you can. Then suddenly it all makes sense, right?
Hmm.
You get this tempo, and if I don't know where you should go. If you go to e4, it doesn't look so healthy there, right? I don't know. Suddenly you can attack this knight, maybe bishop d3. I don't know. Take. Is it possible to take?
I think so.
So let's say we take it. Is that good? Yeah, this is playable. Yeah, this looks okay for black, I say. So knight f6 would be possible. Taking here, I mean, it's I'm sure it's possible. I don't know. Queen b3, I guess, must be the move. Must be the idea.
And then b6 again.
And then b6, and then comes the question: what do we do here? Probably just a developing move, maybe. Black is threatening to take here, but let's say we play knight f3 just to start the game.
You move back to
And,
e7.
Maybe bishop e7. Should we advance? I don't know.
Perhaps it makes sense to go to e5. And it's problem with the development of the b8 knight.
Yeah, because there is a little trick in the position. You might think, I will chase the knight and take the pawn on g4, but there is a little jump here to g6.
Yeah.
And suddenly we are quite happy we don't have the pawn on h4, right?
Yeah.
f6 would have been quite good with the pawn on h4. Then you could take to g4 and the knight would have to go back and so on. So that's another point of this sacrifice of the pawn, that you have this pin on the h pawn. So
very interesting to see if he grabs the pawn on h4.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah.
So should we move on?
Yeah.
And we have the young guy from Ukraine playing against
Adelard.
Yeah.
I think we will have to check who that is, because I'm not sure who that is. So let's see. Let's take the starting list here. He's a feeder master from. Is this Taipei? No. TPE. What's that?
Can we check?
Yes, it's Taipei.
Aha.
Oh, he's born in 2007.
So he's 15.
The guy is 15 years old.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting with all these young players, I think.
Yeah, that's great. So we have. Should we check how old he is? This we haven't checked.
Was he 19?
Was he?
When we looked yesterday, I think.
Maybe did we look at him? Okay, well, I just to remember.
Yeah.
He's a grandmaster. Yeah, we have checked him. I can see that. Yeah, 2000. He's 19. So we have a 15 against a 19-year-old.
This is going to be interesting to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Galperin is obviously a very, very strong player. 25, 30, grandmaster already at 19, and he's black against this 15-year-old guy from Taipei. I don't think I've heard of a player from Taipei before. Have you?
No, it's not often that they participate in tournaments.
Yeah.
So this is white is very solid.
Yeah.
And now it's threatening e4.
Should we see it from the beginning? What do you think?
Yeah.
This could be a game to follow later on. So d4 knight f6, c4 g6, g3. We see a lot of this. It's g3 all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Bishop g7, bishop g2, castles. So black is not trying to prevent white from doing anything here. You do whatever you want. Knight c3, d6. Yeah. So now we have a king's Indian. G3 King's Indian.
Yeah.
Classic. Yeah.
What? He did move on.
Yeah, here he plays rook e8. I don't think that's the most common move, actually. It's a very uncommon move. I think the classical move in this position is to play knight c6.
But also knight d7 is an option.
Knight b d7, you can play that, and there are other moves, of course. But
yeah,
when I played the King's Indian like 50 years ago, then I used to play knight c6 in this position. And then if white, I used to play this line. I played here, and then when they castled, I played this move. It's not the best, I think. I think what today I think they like to play this move here. I think a6 is the so in this game we see how theory has developed because he plays rook e8.
Yeah. I would gladly follow this because this is the line I play myself as white. So, but I never. No one has ever played rook e8 when I meet them.
No, we can see here that Jordan van Forest has played a game with this recently. Also, David Anton, the Spanish player, has played it. So it's obviously a known move, and I mean it cannot really be that bad because it doesn't. I mean it doesn't do that much. It's
no.
It doesn't destroy anything, so to speak. Okay, so let's see what happens. Castles. And now another strange move.
Oh.
But this has obviously also been played before. Yeah, this still followed this Jordan van Forest game. So this is really advanced theory. Rook e8 and bishop d6. I would never.
The idea is to quick e5.
Yeah, and to not have to exchange queens, right?
Yeah, but to play e5 directly is not possible.
Yeah, we can check that and see what happens. So if you play this now,
you just take it and
you
change queens and take on e5.
Take here, and probably just pick up the pawn.
Yeah,
and there is nothing, right?
So
that's the reason for it, but it still looks very unnatural.
Yeah.
But maybe it's the new wave, new trend, so to speak. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think I would ever come up with such a plan. It looks a bit, but okay, why not?
So what happened here?
Yeah, e4, and as expected, e5, and they seem both to be in preparation actually, because here the young guy from Taipei, he played h3, which seems to be according to what I can see, it seems to be still theory, has been played before. It's a natural move, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
And now exchange and knight c6, and suddenly we have come to a more normal position, right? It's just a transposition. Yeah. Okay. Bishop b3. Exchange. And now also a slightly unusual move, maybe. I don't know. In my opinion, the normal move in this position is to play bishop c6. Do you agree?
Yeah, c5 is unusual, I think, because of the d6 pawn.
Yeah. I remember I played the game actually against Vasily Smyslov, the great once world champion. Yeah, we played in New York, and it wasn't this opening, but it was some sort of Pirk or modern defense, and he played exactly this idea, c5 in a position like this, and he crushed me.
He did?
Yeah, so it was a good lesson, and then I learned. I thought it looked very strange, but then I realized, you can play like that. It's not bad. So c5. It's not so. It's a good move. You take space in the center, and the pawn on d6 is weak, but you get a lot of activity. So after bishop e3, bishop c6. Black has pressure on e4, queen c2. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's move on.
And now we come to one of your clubmates.
Yeah. Erik Thörn.
Yeah.
He's playing against.
We take it from the beginning.
Yeah.
He plays against this young Danish player, Thibaut Jesper. He's a grandmaster, I think.
High
rated.
High rated, yes.
And let's see the opening. E4, E5. So it's a Spanish or Roy Lopez. And we are following. And here, turn does not castle. I mean, often people play castles here. And then on C3 they go for the marshal, like Magnus. But Eric plays D6, so he signals to his opponent, I'm not going to try the marshal. So then the opponent does not have to play the anti-marshal. He plays the normal C3. Castles, H3, knight H5. The Chigorin variation, one of the most played in the Spanish. For a while, I think Carlsen's played this Breyer line with knight B8 to D7 and all that. But okay, knight A5 is certainly playable. Bishop C2, C5, D4, Queen C7, and D5. It's a good move in general. One of the problems for black in this opening is the knight. It's sort of on a bad circuit here. It's difficult to, now you would like to get it to D7 or something.
Yeah, but there's many moves to move it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Find another place.
Yeah, that's the problem. So yeah, it's not so easy. This is tricky.
But there's still theory in just opening so far.
Yeah, it's so after bishop D7, B3, preventing the knight from coming here. G6, knight D2, knight H5, knight F1. It's still theory. Bishop F6. Yeah. Yeah. This will be a long game, I think.
Yeah, still just in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, should we take some new game?
Yeah, let's go forward. So on board 8 we have Borna Derakshani, and I think we have to check. I think it's a female short, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'm wrong. So I'm not. So let's see. The young man, he's 20 years old, and he is
from the UK.
From the UK, yeah. But I think he's from, maybe he's from Iran from the beginning. I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so let's see the game. Okay, here we have he's playing against one of the Finnish players, Toivo Keinonen. Maybe we should check him also when we're at it. There we have him. Yeah.
Same
age, yeah, 20-year-old. And he's an international master. Yeah. So, strong players both, and same age. So an interesting fight. E4 played by Derakshani, and C5, knight F3, G6, D4. Okay. So this interesting line, F4. Well, it looks very good for white because you have made more moves and you force the knight back. The only problem is that black can counter-attack on the center.
It takes some time to get out, get a knight G8 out.
Yeah, but you can play knight H6, knight F5. At some point you play D6, you have rook B8. So you can get like something like this, and then you get pressure down this. And then you have the bishop here. And
Yeah,
the
after the
here.
break,
Yeah.
seems very promising for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can always ask the question. So what's the threat here? What is White's threat? But White, I think, yeah, it's Black's move, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But maybe Black would play something like, I don't know, Rook B8 maybe, or maybe Knight H6, something like that. Something like Knight H6. I don't know.
But if it's good to move the bishop here. So if Black goes to F5, you can counter with G4, perhaps.
Yeah.
Don't let
No,
it.
I think I would play in this position. I think I would prefer to be Black actually, because I believe in the counter chances. I don't see exactly what White is going to do here. Because the problem is White would like to maybe play Queen up here and castle queenside. But then we have the B file, and we have the long diagonal that will be dangerous. So yeah, it's tricky position to play for White here. So
so Black is slightly better, perhaps.
No, just very little, but I like the dynamics of the Black position. We'll see what happens. So should we check another game?
Yeah.
So we go to board 9. We have Dominic Horvat against some Lopez Mullet. We have to check these guys. So we had Horvat and Lopez, yes. So we check those guys. So we check Horvat. It's an international masters, and he comes from Austria, and he is only 19 years old.
Yeah.
And then we have this guy, I think he's from Spain, an international master, and he's 22.
Yeah.
So we have 2 international masters.
Yeah, and quite young.
Quite young. So also very interesting game, right? And we have to check the game. So D4, E6, C4, Knight F6, Knight C3, D5.
There's a lot of similar games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we have the exchange variation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you play this? Do you play the Queen's Gambit with Black?
No, I don't.
You do the Slav, right?
Yeah, I do the Slav.
Slavish
Quite boring, but anyhow, it works for me.
Well, you almost beat Magnus, so it's not so bad. Okay, Bishop F4. Again.
Yeah.
E3. But Black chooses a different path here. And he goes for the immediate counter against White's center. Check. Bishop D7. Take. Knight takes. Knight E2. Yeah. All very normal moves. Very flexible setup for White with the knight on E2 and bishop outside of the pawn chain like this. It's like a Caro-Kann, but with reversed colors. Actually, you can get this type of position with Black if you play the Caro-Kann. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, he will get like an isolated pawn on D5 later on, perhaps. So it's that.
Jag kunde inte hitta I så lite på någonting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. It could be an isolated d-pawn. Do you think it could ever be possible for Black to play c4 and play for the pawns on the queen side?
Yeah, but then it might be possible sometimes to do a break with b3.
Yeah.
If you cannot support the pawn on c4 with b5. And then it's quite nice position, I think, for White.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So if he does c4, he has to protect it with b5 to be able to protect it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it has to be prepared. But it's sometimes an option to do it, and if you can establish that type of, let's say you could play this and maybe support with something like this, these pawns become very strong.
Yeah.
Then you move the bishop back, and suddenly you have a pass pawn on c3 or c2 or something.
Yeah.
So it could be. So okay, let's look for one more game.
Yeah.
And then we take maybe a short break. What do you say? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, that would be good. So we have a young Swedish player.
Yeah, we have Khan.
Yeah.
And I'm always a bit uncertain about how to pronounce his last name, but Kusukshari, something like this.
I can't try because I might do wrong. So
Yeah, well.
yeah.
Well, I take the risk. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see the game. So Khan, who we know is a very strong player, very close to 2500.
But
he plays against a German player, Frank Savatsky.
Yeah. But Khan has recently played very strong in Sweden, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
He's gone from strength to strength, I think.
Yeah.
So let's see. Okay, we have a London system with knight bd2. Yeah. If you play c3 here, of course, queen b6 is quite good actually, because then after queen b3 you can go c4, and if this, you have this trick with bishop f5, and you cannot take because take on b2, and suddenly black is better. But of course, by playing knight d2 you avoid all these lines. Okay, so c takes d4, queen b6 is still possible, but it's not quite as strong here. Take on d4, take bishop g4, yeah, c3. Yes. Kind of normal position.
Should we do a break now?
Yeah, we will take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome. We are back after a break. And we start immediately with board number 1. What do you think about this position? We have the Indian top-rated Krishnan Sasikiran playing black here against Nils Richter, the German guy.
Yeah, white is a little bit better, is my opinion. But let's see what has happened since before.
Yeah. We were somewhere. Where were we? We were here, I think. No, we were actually here. We haven't looked at this so much. And he started with A6, D4, and G6. Yeah, okay. This is still theoretical grounds, I think. It's not anything sensational so far. And now he jumps in here. And there was an exchange. So...
You're still in the opening, I think.
Still in the opening, yes. Still in the opening.
So he wants to continue with the knight d7 and f6 maybe, or...
Do you think he wants to play b5 at some point?
Yeah, he
with
must
this
do...
with this a6 idea?
Yeah, I would probably do that.
Yeah?
Yeah. To open up a little bit.
I mean, there could be at some point a plan for white to play c5, right?
Yeah.
And then
b4, a4, and b5.
And then go for some stuff like this. And if he has everything set up right, he could get a very strong play here on the queen side. So this has to be something to be afraid. I mean, if you play c5 now, probably it's not so strong, because then you can play a5 and so on, and just probably break this with b6 maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe c5 is a move here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be. We will have to see. Okay, let's go to board number 2. And here something has happened.
This is a little bit interesting.
I think we were somewhere here when we looked at it last time. And there was this plan with e5. And black has grabbed the center. And of course, according to the hyper-modern school of chess, now it's white's obligation to attack black center with his pieces. And he plays a very... well, we recognized it from one of the games yesterday. The queen move.
Yeah. Similar to Bellon yesterday.
Bellon played it with black.
Yeah.
And the basic idea is to pin the pawn. And if black does nothing, then you can take, and black has to take with a piece on d5. So in the game, black played knight e7, and white took, and now b5. Seems to be a novelty.
Yeah, no games found on that move.
No, I think I can see here that there has been some high-level games. Ian Nepomniachtchi, the World Championship contender, he took with the knight here against Danil Dubov in a game. So that seems to be a reference. But in this game, we saw b5 played.
Interesting move.
Queen b3. And now c takes. So black is actually sacrificing a pawn here. Now white can take the b5 with the queen, with the check.
He probably will take it, because otherwise black is maybe okay.
Yeah.
What can he play? d4 perhaps?
Yeah. I don't know. Some d3 maybe, knight c3, I don't know, some move. d4 maybe, as you say, also possible. But then maybe you can just...
you must
probably you could take, or even just play e4 maybe. Maybe that's possible also. D4 is an interesting move, but let's see what happens after D4.
E4, you must.
Yeah, E4 looks normal, okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do?
Yeah, maybe it's not possible to go to E5 due to F6.
Yeah, maybe. No, maybe now you have a check here, right?
And you move the king. Maybe it's too.
Well, we can see
Yeah.
from the evaluation bar here, it's almost 1.5. So probably white has a good move here. What about F3 for instance? Go for a compensation. I think the black king on F8 is
Yeah,
that's the problem, and not, this is too much, I believe.
yeah.
But it's not so clear. It's not so clear. I don't know. Bishop A6 maybe, something like this. I mean, the game is not over. It's still a game. But black does not want to play with the king on F8 like this.
No.
This is always going to be very problematic.
So maybe D4 was an interesting move then.
Yeah. So let's go back. Let's say we have this move here, and we have this. This is our position.
Yeah.
And the question is, I think queen takes b5. Why shouldn't you take a pawn like that? You cannot be afraid all the
No,
time.
I like pawns.
I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are. But
I
I mean,
always grab pawns if I can.
in general,
Yeah.
if you're always afraid to grab your opponent's loose pawns, then he has many options to play, right?
Yeah.
So let's try it, okay? Let's take the pawn.
Mm.
Check. It's also with check. That's always nice. So what should black do? We have a couple of options. Knight c6. Bishop d7. I don't think you want to exchange queens here,
No, of course not. So.
because white's maybe the weakest part of white's position, apart from the fact that he hasn't developed, is the fact that the queen is out in the opening very early, which is not always so good.
Should bishop d7?
Yeah.
Try that.
And probably white tries to run home as soon as possible, right?
Yeah.
I would guess. Because queen b7 now it doesn't look. Then you play knight c6 or something, and it's nothing. So it's queen b3. And now maybe just the knights.
Yeah. Get it out.
And I don't know, knight c3. Then rook b8 maybe. Well,
Yeah, but black is not that bad.
black has a knight center.
Mm. It's a pawn down, but
Fairly good development.
yeah.
But it's pawn down. All in all, sort of equal, or
Yeah, I think so.
not clear. I mean, black has he has to prove that he has compensation, because if white gets enough to move, let's say white can play, he can play d3 and knight c3 and put the bishop here and the rooks in the center. Maybe black does not have so much. It's not the end of the world. I mean, so he needs to do something. But at some point, maybe e4 could be good. Attacking this knight here, because the knight is it's kind of vulnerable here after e4, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have a good place to go.
No, I don't know. We were after queen b3 here. Could e4 be a move here, just to take this? But maybe it's too early. Yeah, I think you want to have knight c6 first, because then you can play knight d4 and so on.
Hmm. But then it's a threat to do e4, followed by knight d4.
It could be. It could be.
If you do
it
like
could be very annoying.
Yeah.
Chasing the queen, and finally you have bishop b5 or something that suddenly white is very pressed down. Maybe it could be. It could be. We'll have to see.
yeah,
So
interesting.
Let's go to the next
Yeah.
one. So here we have this, and we can go back. We had the queen a4 check, Knight c6, and we said knight e5 is not so much, so e3, castles, bishop d2, take, and the bishop goes back. Of course, with the idea of playing e5, this is standard. I think this line is standard. c2, a6, also normal move. Prevents knight b5 and things like that. And, at some point, you can also play b5 yourself and bishop b7. a3, e5. Take. And now f4. Again, seems to be a...
Maybe that was too early, I think.
Well, this seems to be theory. It has been played.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are many games here. Jeffrey Chong has played it. Navarra, Moiseyenko, Orientari, the Norwegian Grandmaster. So, and I've seen it. I recognize it. Even though I don't play this line, so I don't know this 100%. I remember this f4. Take, queen e7. And now we haven't seen any moves, so I'm wondering if this game has frozen. I don't know. Is it possible? Board number 3. Can you check that? Okay, so we go to board number 4.
Lundqvist.
Nothing has happened here either for a while.
Oh, there maybe something wrong with.
Nah, I think this is such a complex. But let's see what happened anyway, because it's interesting. So we had this queen b6 move against the Sosin variation, and the white chose Fischer's move, knight takes c6, b takes, castles, and here we have e6 or g6. I think g6 is considered maybe to be the sharpest or the most challenging move, but he played e6, which is certainly very okay. And Eric chose to play queen e2, and the bishop comes out, and now e5.
I like that move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of the points with this idea to take on c6, that it's difficult for black to keep his very solid center, because white has this e5 break to exchange, and when he has done that, suddenly the c6 pawn looks not so good anymore. Yeah, so that's the point. D takes, queen takes, castles, and now comes a very typical maneuver in this line, and especially against this c pawn. You play knight a4. It looks strange, but the idea is actually to control this square c5. And after queen b4, you just play b3, like in the game. And white wants to maybe put the bishop could come here, and maybe at some point you can even go here. Maybe exchange this bishop here. We'll do it like this. If you can exchange this one, suddenly all the black squares are weak.
And exchange the queens as well.
And then you put this knight here on c5, and it will be dominating this bishop here. So this bishop becomes a weak bishop. So you play against the black's bishops. You want to exchange this one, and you want to dominate that one. And if you can do that, usually things are good for white. So that's the plan. Okay. Okay, so we go to the next one. Yeah. So here we have the Grandmaster meeting. We have the young Urkedal.
Yeah.
Froda. And he's playing against the veteran Swedish Grandmaster, former European Junior Champion Ralf Åkesson.
For the moment, he's a pawn up.
Yeah, we have to go back and see what happened here. We had this we discussed this g4 move, and you didn't like it so much, but then later on you said you liked it.
Yeah, you have to change if you see the coming.
Yeah, that's
moves.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we are learning. We are learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you have to see the h4 move to see. Is
The
it-
h4 it's a very important ingredient because without it g4 looks a bit stupid. But with
Yeah.
together with h4 it looks much better. Yeah, I agree. So he didn't take on h4. We discussed that taking on h4 was actually possible, but after queen b3, it's a bit annoying for black if he takes this and white comes here and there is a weakness down here and it's difficult to know what to do with that. And if you play b6, then c6 gets weak, and white has pressure on the h file, and the queen is a bit overloaded with all these weaknesses. So yeah, Ralph did not take the pawn. I didn't think he would. He played knight d7, bishop e2, knight b6, and now interesting move, bishop e5. A little bit irritating for black because you would maybe in principle play knight f6, but then g5 is annoying. G7 is not possible to protect that way.
So what did he do? He did f6.
I don't know if we play, let's say you play bishop f6, is that possible? It's possible, but I don't know if it's good. It looks a bit... He chose to play f6, yeah, he played f6. Bishop g3. But this is not nice. You don't want to have a pawn on f6 like this, because what about the knight? The knight becomes weak. And suddenly you have a problem, you have a logistical problem here. How do you develop this position? So suddenly everything looks much better for white than we thought from the beginning. Okay. So, bishop d6. So that's nice. Now we can put the knight on e7. But okay, exchange. And as you said, now you like this position when we looked at it before.
Yeah.
Because you said knight h3 and he played it. That was exactly right. h5. That is a move you have to think about. Is that would you play knight h5? Would you play h5 with black here?
No, I don't think so. But the idea is, when it gets to f4, it's very good to have the knight on f4. So it's.
Do you mean he wants to exchange on h3?
What?
Yeah, it happened in the game because he played h5 take and then he exchanged the knight.
Yeah.
So
it's a pawn, and you can keep the pawn. It's very difficult to get it back.
But you get all these weaknesses on the white squares, and white has a bishop on the white
squares.
Yeah,
but it's also weaknesses on f5 and g4 and.
Yeah.
It's a lot of weakness as well.
But you also get, I mean, you get the g7. But let's make a few moves here, because he played h5, which we can discuss if it's a good or bad move. I mean, there are alternatives. You can just play it solidly. I'm not sure knight to f4 is that bad for black. I mean, can't you just play something like, knight e7 or something like that? Maybe put the bishop on f7. White is better, but it's not that bad.
Oh, you can exchange knight e7, g6, perhaps.
I don't know. Let's say you go here, knight f4. I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
Just playing something like this. Normal moves in my.
g5, is that possible, or is it good?
Yeah, but then you give f5 and g5 is possible. It doesn't. It looks a bit. Yeah, it doesn't threaten much. It's not really threatening anything. You can take on f6, but I can take back with queen and pawn.
Yeah, but you have bishop g4, and you can.
Maybe black can make queenside castle. Put the king on b8. If you open the g file.
Yeah.
It's playable, but in the game there was h5, and I think it's an overreaction. I don't like I know myself when I play moves like that, I always regret it afterwards. You lose a pawn because you were afraid of something, but losing a pawn is also something to be afraid of.
Yeah.
So,
And now whites get much better.
so this happened, and then he castled, queen c2 and king b8. And this is the position. And the computer hates black's position now. And I can understand it because we have all these weaknesses, especially this one,
Yeah.
that can be attacked. So white can castle, and he can, and then he will move the rook here, and he will pressure here, and he has an easy doubling here. And this h5 pawn, which is protecting the h4 pawn, this is securely defended by the bishop. And the queen can go to f5 at some point.
Yeah, it's a lot of space for white.
And black has absolutely no play.
Yeah. A lot of space on the white squares. With the queen and the bishop.
Yeah, no. I think this h5 was
Mistake.
no, it's not a blunder. You cannot call it a blunder, but it's a bad miscalculation. And I think it was a result of some fear. He was afraid. Maybe he didn't like the position, and he felt that he had to do something, and suddenly he ends up with a really bad position.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I predict a white win in this position in this game already, because I think this attack on
It's
G7
an easy game plan.
it's a very easy plan.
Yeah.
And an extra pawn.
Hmm.
Okay, we go forward. We go to the young guys.
Hmm.
So here we have the 15-year-old guy from Taipei playing with white against the 19-year-old Galperin. Which country was he from?
Ukraine.
He's from Ukraine. Yeah,
Yeah.
Platon. Yeah, and he plays in Sweden a lot, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
and he might also start to play for Sweden in.
He's living in Sweden.
Yeah, he's living here.
Yeah.
So he's.
Yeah, we have had an influx of some players from Ukraine, of course, and we are very happy to receive them here in Sweden, of course. And Platon is a really promising guy. I think there was another grandmaster from Ukraine who has actually changed federation to Sweden now.
Was it another one, or maybe I
Yeah.
made a mistake?
Maybe. I don't think Platon he's not Swedish now at least, but there's another guy who has actually shifted to. I don't remember his name now, but he's 25.
Was a strong player. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe I did a wrong comment.
Well,
But anyhow, he's a young, promising, and has won a lot of tournaments in Sweden
yes.
lately.
Yeah. And not so much has happened here. We can say that.
Yeah.
But we should go back. We were talking about this C5 move, and
similar.
there were some surprising moves in the opening, right? We just to remind ourselves. There are so many games. There was this rook e8 move that was kind of unusual, but it had been played before, and then came this shocking bishop d7.
Yeah.
And then
Unexpected.
And then e5, and there was this exchange on d4, and then there was knight c6, yes, and then we had the c5 move, and bishop c6, and now we've sort of settled in a position with there are corresponding weaknesses, you could say. I mean, the d6 pawn is weak, but it's not very easy to attack it. The e4 pawn, of course, is I don't know if it's weak, but it's a target at least for black, right?
Mm.
And black now has 4 pieces attacking it, and white has 3 defending, but there is also the rook here behind. So I don't think you can take here, because you just move the bishop somewhere.
But then you can take on c3.
Maybe here.
Ah, you move there.
Bishop d2. What do you do here? Because if you try to defend with this, then we have
You lose
this
directly.
guy. So what can we do? You can take with the bishop here, but then we take with the bishop.
Queen g5.
And then we take.
Ah, I have to do f. No.
And f3 comes. Yeah.
No, it doesn't work.
No. No, it would be very surprising
Hmm.
if you could take this here. I mean, everything is. White has everything set up to counter that. So black's problem, of course, is yeah, he would like to do something, but what can he do? And there is also another trap in the position if black tries to play this move, because then white has the trick e5. It's a very nice trick, and suddenly two pieces are hanging here, so you cannot take e5 because we have this threat here. So black takes here,
And take on f6.
but now we have intermezzo threatening the queen, and if the bishop had not been on g7, then you could have played here to protect the bishop, but you cannot do that because yeah, everything is hanging. So this wins for white, wins a piece. So we have king h2. Yeah, it's an interesting fight.
Yeah. So we take the next game.
Yeah. So now we get to this one.
It happens a lot of moves here.
So we have to go back. So I think we had this position. This is the Chigorin variation in Spanish, the old main line. And Eric, your club mate, he plays some interesting moves here with knight h5 and bishop f6 and so on. He's obviously intent on getting counterplay with black. That's the problem for black in this line. If he plays too passively, white just dominates and gets all the space, and in the end black has lots of pieces but no squares to put them. So that's the end result often.
So what happened here?
So now white played a move that might look a little bit strange at first, but it's a common idea. You play knight g3, because of course black can take this, but you take with the pawn, and it turns out that this is not so weak,
Followed by g4.
because you have you have moves. You can put the rook here on f1, and you have the open f5, and these pawns can advance, or you can play g4 maybe if you want to, something like that. So this is not. Sometimes it's a weakness, but it's not a weakness in this case. It works fine. So he didn't take on g3. Instead, he played knight f4, bishop e3, and now c4. And then the classical response is always to play b4. And you put this knight here is not on a good square, as we can see, because it cannot go here, it can't go there, and it cannot go here, and it can also not go here or here. So this is a problem. It can go here, sorry. It can go to this square, but from that square it's also very difficult to find any. So to get the knight out from this b7 square, you have to move the f pawn, and then you can finally get the knight to f7.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of time.
So your hope is you would get something like this, maybe this, And then the knight can maybe at some point jump up here or something like that. So it's a long journey for this knight. Okay, so knight b7 was played. Queen d2, a5, and a3. And now bishop g7. Yeah.
Is black okay? The problem is the knight.
I would say that no.
Mm.
This type of position is known from way back, and it's considered to be good for white. Yeah, I mean, not winning, but it's nice position for white. But I mean,
Can black double the rooks on 8?
The a file.
A file, yes.
Yeah, he can do that. Yeah, he can try something like that.
Try for the A line.
Yeah. But white can try to build up an attack on the king side. So yeah, it's not clear what you're doing on the a file. It doesn't lead to so much because you don't have any more pieces.
Mm.
And we will see. This game is promising to be an extremely interesting game, especially in time pressure, because everything can happen. So we will get back to it, okay? So let's look at this one. Okay. Yeah, it's we had the position here. We had this position. We talked about this position. Knight g8, f4, and f6, and now white shows a very unusual plan here, I think. Interesting plan. So the normal idea would be maybe to play something like, I don't know, you could take on f6. This looks normal, right?
Yes.
And then probably knight comes here, and it's a question if these pawns are good or maybe, yeah. It's not clear. Bishop d3 he played, and after take he surprised everyone with f5. Interesting.
Yeah, unexpected again.
Well, it looks very interesting because he's threatening to take here, and if I mean, let's say he's allowed to take, and then the bishop takes. I mean, it gets very dangerous for black. But I'm thinking, what happens if black just ignores this thing and just plays d5? Let's say. I mean, you have to take, right? What else can you do?
Yeah, and then you do e4.
And then my idea was to go e4. I don't know if that's a move or not. Aha, yeah, maybe he can take here. I don't know. Is that possible? Like, because if he, let's say he plays some move like this must be horrible for white, right?
Yeah, but could he sacrifice instead?
I don't know. Take.
Yeah.
Take. So if we count the pawns, black has 4 pawns, and white has 6 pawns. So white has 2 pawns for the piece, and he's threatening to take on c6 with check. And he's threatening to take on h7 also. I don't know. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Quite sharp.
So
f5 is
but maybe we can do something else. Maybe we can play, I think d5 looks good, but after taking, maybe we can just, let's say we play knight here. Because now, let's say he takes, now we play e4.
Hmm. Yeah. it's a better variation for black.
It's not so risky at least.
No,
And you keep the pawns. This is the.
and you can always take back on h7 when you want.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah.
The question is, of course, where do you castle? And then the answer is maybe you don't.
You don't need to castle.
No, maybe you play rook b8. You take on h7 with the rook. You put out your queen, your bishop. You
Yeah.
can play with the king in the middle.
Yeah.
Behind all the pawns.
It's safe.
And where does white castle?
You can't do a short castle.
Dangerous both sides, right?
Yeah. I like black a lot. Yeah.
I think that this plan it's very ambitious, but I would say it's an ambitious plan that might be also very risky.
Yeah, maybe too ambitious, perhaps.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to follow that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay, next game. So we had this position, I think, and here we talked about c4, maybe some possibility, but he just took. Bishop takes.
Yeah.
I would be reluctant myself to play a move like that. I'm not saying it's bad. It's not the type of move I like to play, but okay, take it. Take castles. Rook b1. Queen c8, f3. Yeah, white has a nice center. Some pressure on the b file. Potential to play e4. The bishop seems to be the strongest minor piece in this position.
Yeah.
And the black knights are sort of locked on f6 and d7. My verdict is that white is probably better, and I think the computer says the same.
Yeah.
It gives an advantage over about the pawn. It seems to be a correct assessment.
Can you take on c5? Who is in the move?
It's white.
Yeah.
But
Take on c5.
why do you want it? Yeah, you could take, but why do you want to break up your pawns? Isn't that?
Yeah, but there's a lot of opportunities maybe to.
You want? Yeah, maybe. So let's say we take back. If we take with the queen, then you take the pawn, right? So
Yeah.
Knight takes. Now the knights are suddenly a little bit more active. So
Yeah, but if you do like knight.
d4.
No, so sorry, bishop e5.
Okay.
You go for the d5. Maybe not. You just go back. Sorry, it was not.
Well, you could play like this.
Hmm.
I mean, we said that the bishop was the strongest piece. Now it's really the strongest piece. Now it's not just talk. No, this looks quite good actually. Interesting idea. Take on c5. Also something I don't think I would do myself. I would be more inclined to try to prepare this and
Yeah.
slowly. But taking is an interesting move. Interesting idea. Okay, so that's that. Let's go to the next one. And so here we have Khan Kushuksari or something like that. He plays. He's a Swedish player, right?
Yes.
But I think he has. Is it an Estonian name or something? Or is it Turkish? Maybe Turkish. Yeah. Sorry, Turkish. Yeah, Khan. Okay. So let's see where we were here. We were here somewhere.
Yeah. Let's move from here.
Yeah. C3. It was a London system. Black played. Yes, he played this pawn sacrifice, which isn't a pawn sacrifice. I would not be tempted to take this pawn.
Yeah, you get it back with a good, perhaps.
Yeah, that's
Good
what
position.
I'm thinking. That
Yeah.
you might just exchange your b pawns.
So what happened? Did you take?
He took.
Yeah.
Okay, if you take on b2,
Knight e5 is also.
knight e5 is a problem, and also bishop b5 at some point. So he castled.
Hmm.
Bishop b5, rook b6, queen a4, knight e7. Castles. And now black played queen b8. And even though
Interesting.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not clear. The bishop has to move, right?
And then you have b2.
So we have to go like something here, and maybe rook takes. And then I guess you play some rook b1, and something like this.
Hmm.
It looks
Equal. Maybe.
sort of equal, right?
Yeah.
I would say. I would guess. Yeah, so these were the 10 games that we started off with.
Yeah, maybe you can take some new games.
Now we can go down
Yeah.
the list a bit. Should we pick a little bit?
Yeah, let's go for the young Swedish guy,
Yeah.
Edvin Trost.
Yeah.
How old is he? He's
Is he 16 or 18 or? I
No,
think
I
we
think
should we should not guess too much.
Yeah.
If we just go and look. So what we do is we go to the feeder site to get the exact. Yeah, he's quite young. He's actually
15.
only 15 years old.
Hmm.
So 16 was not so. So he's the same age as the guy from Taipei. Okay. And he plays against a strong player, Yair Parkov. We have to check who that is.
yeah,
There are so many players. So
24.
an international master. Yeah, he's a young guy, 20 years old,
He's from
from Israel.
Israel.
And this will not be one of our favorite games, I think, so far, because it looks very even and sort of
Yeah,
I don't think we have to go through that.
no,
We can guess.
you can see it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If something happens, we will go there. So
Mm.
let's go down. Should we check Panzer?
Yeah, another Swedish young player.
Milton Panzer, he's an international master, and interestingly, he has a father who is also an international master. Pontus Sjödahl.
Yes.
So it's a family of chess players, and they are both very strong. I think Milton is now higher rated than his father. He has surpassed him. Happens. So
How old is Milton? He was.
he must be around 20, something like that, I would guess. Again, we are not going to guess. We are going to check. He's 21.
Hmm.
Okay. So Milton is 21, and maybe we should check the opponent. Gungle. So where do we have him? International master from Germany. Also a young guy, 21.
Hmm. Same age.
Yeah. International master. A little bit lower rated than and Milton. Intricate position with all the knights in the middle. It's difficult to take in what's happening. Shall we check this game from the beginning? This could be an interesting game.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
So, okay. Yes. A lot of queen get. We have this one. This is the Magnus line with a6.
Played by Milton.
Yeah. It's quite popular these days. Yeah, Carlsen has played it a number of times, beaten Carana with it. No, that was with white, sorry. He has played it with black as well. There are a number of games. He's the main proponent. Beat Grishuk and yeah. Oh, he's played it many games. We can call it the Carlsen line. I don't know what the real name is, but let's call it the Carlsen line. And there was an exchange. Bishop f4, bishop t6, e3. So we see all the bishops disappearing.
Yeah, it's only the knights left.
Yeah, only the tricky knights. Queen f5, d8. Yeah. So a lot of maneuvering here. Knights finding their positions. And here we are. The evaluation bar says it's about equal, and I don't see any real reason why anyone should be better here.
Yeah, and it's not so easy to do something to get rid of the knights on either side.
Yeah, it's true.
Because if you do like f3, then e3 is weak. If you can't do b6, then c6 gets weak. So will we have the knights in the middle? And it's not good to take on c5 with black, because then the b7 gets weak.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very unusual position, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if if you should try to take on e4 at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's good, but what happens if you take this? Is it a bad move? Knight takes. I was thinking maybe to go with this knight to c5.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's nothing. The knight retreats to d6 and you get nowhere.
Yeah, you can go to c4 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to play some minority attack with a4, b5, right? If you could make these moves, suddenly you would create maybe a weakness here on c6. That would be good. But it's very difficult. And you have to be careful. Sometimes black can play moves like b5, knights here, and put the knight on c4, so it's not so easy. So
Yeah.
difficult position,
Yeah.
looks balanced somehow. I don't really see what's going to happen, but there is potential for things to happen.
Yeah.
So what do we have? we have Hampus Sørensen against Justin Sarkar from United States. Do we want to check that?
Yeah, let's do that.
So oh
Interesting.
yeah, he's winning. Hampus is winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see what happened in this game. So we have a d4. So So let's just say Hampus Sørensen, he's I think he's an international master. Swedish, young guy, we have to check him of course. Yeah, he's international master, he's 19 years old. And he is one of the top juniors, I think, in Sweden. He must be. And his opponent, what was his name? Yes, Justin Sarkar. He has been around for a while. So where do we have him here? Yeah. He is 41.
Yeah, from
also,
the US.
Also international master. Yeah, I think he's from New York. He was a very promising player, I think.
Earlier when he was younger, or
yeah, when he was young, when he came forward, there was lots of hopes surrounding him, but I don't think he has actually pursued chess that much. But it's nice to see him here in Sweden, and we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
So it's 2 international masters. We have the Nimso with E3, the Rubinstein variation, castles, A3, C5, bishop D3, knight C6, knight F3, D6. I think this is called yeah, it's the same-ish, but this idea to play D6 and E5, it's, I think it was the Hübner line, but I don't know if that's the exactly like this. But E4, E5. This is a line that is on one hand, positionally, it looks like it should be good for black because white has sort of a bad bishop on D3 and he has the weakness on the double C pawns. But white has a massive space advantage in the center. So I think it's actually it can be very difficult for black because the knights don't have any really good squares in the center to sit, and the C4 pawn is not easy to attack it. So yeah, let's see. Castles, knight G6, rook E1, H6. Yeah. Yeah. So well, black has managed to get some activity with the knights, but now white has a very nice move in this position. A tactical shot. He played H3. And of course you have to take it. What else can you do? If you take on F3, queen takes, then the knight is forced back and white can start advancing on the king side. It gets very dangerous if you play something like this. I don't know what you start with, but I mean, almost any move, and eventually you're going to push pawns here. And the rook is coming over, and the king goes here, and the rook comes here, and you have bishops, pawns, queens, rooks, everything is just attacking. Very dangerous. So he took the pawn on H3, and now comes the point, knight G5, double threat, on H3 and H5, here and here. So we have to take, queen takes, bishop D7, and now f4, and we have the classical rook lift.
Very interesting, I think.
Yeah. So after knight g5, black actually had a better move here. He took on g5, which was a big mistake. He should actually have moved this knight here. So after take, we can take f5, g4. And the computer says that in this position it's an equal game. That's very strange, isn't it? White is a piece up here. Let's count the pawns. Black has 8 pawns.
But can I go with the rook to f3 to some point?
Yeah, black has 2 pawns. But it's a triple pawn. But anyway, there is something with the white king, and there's a possibility to play queen h4 and to double on the f file and so on, and at some point maybe even play g3. So yeah, black has compensation in the attack here. But it's about
It was not easy to see that.
very difficult. So this was a
Yeah.
very, very nice line. Instead of taking, he should have played knight. Here he took, and immediately we see the evaluation bar
Yeah.
go up. But if instead this counter attack, but that was extremely difficult because you had to see that in this position after f5, because the normal move to play here would not be to play g4. G4 is extremely unnatural.
Yeah.
I would, if I had this position in the real game, I would jump with my knight here. But then the computer says, no, that's bad. Take, and of course you win the bishop. So it's not so difficult to understand. Anyway, in the game it was knight g5, take, and f4.
Fantastic. move.
Brilliant move. Takes, rook h2. Threatens mate, rook e8. Take on f4. King flees, but f5, knight f4. Take, check, take. There's a mating threat now to go here.
Mm.
Queen bishop a4. Yeah, we do f6. Also important note here in this position that it looks like you could win the queen with this, but then f6 and it's mate. So that's why I played bishop here. But I think you just do f6, something like this. I don't know, e5. Come with the bishop here maybe.
Or maybe can you do rook h7?
Very reasonable move. Yeah.
Or maybe, yes.
I don't know. No, this must be winning, right?
Mm.
No, this is a lost game for black.
Yeah.
But that was really a very nice combination, right?
I like that a lot. It was a brilliant, I think.
Yeah, brilliant idea.
Yeah. Interesting game.
But this opening with this massive center,
Mm.
it's considered. The computer says it's equal, but I think in practice it's always very dangerous for black because he has so little space. But probably the computer holds this. Maybe wins with black, but for humans it's not easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. Do we have anything more?
Or
Or should we go back?
Or is the break soon? Or?
Maybe we should take a 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's make it 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, see you soon.
Yeah. See you. Bye. Jag tänkte om man skulle ta något och hämta
Okay, back after a break, and we are going to start looking at the games again. But first we're going to have a short technical break.
Den funkar inte riktigt än.
Nej, nu säger jag low system resources may affect your audio quality. Try closing some applications. Jag vet inte om den här... Jag kan inte så den klarar alla de här grejerna på en gång. Okay, so back again, and we started right into the round, and we have the first board. Nils Richter from Germany against the Indian star Krishnan Sasikiran. Tony, what do you have to say about this?
Yes, it's. I think it's a little bit better for white, but is almost equal. White has the bishop, 2 bishops, and a little bit better position, I think. But it's a lot to play for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is who is going to break? I mean, break up the position somehow.
Yeah.
And I think it's
I would prefer white.
Yeah, it depends. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you can also see some chances for black maybe to create some attack. He has the queen on h4. It's the question is it a good or a bad position for the queen? But at some point, if you manage, let's say you manage to play the g pawn, and you can bring a rook up somehow. You could get some attack, or knight g4 could be an idea at some point, or maybe if you could, move the rook up somewhere here, something like this, and create an attack down this.
Yeah.
So the question is, what is white going to do? But maybe he can play something like maybe f3. Maybe you play f3, and at some point you play e4. Maybe.
Maybe also go back with the bishop to e1 and g3. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a possibility. This could go back here and maybe come here, and there are ideas.
And later on, maybe moving the pawns on the other side.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Ilya Smirin from Israel playing white here against Sokolovsky. I think he's also from Israel. And we have what seems to be fairly even. Let's go back and see where we were in this game. We have the queen a4 move.
The interesting move, yes.
And then there was a very interesting exchange. But Smirin didn't want to take the b5 pawn.
Interesting.
We were speculating. No, he obviously thought that was too risky, so he played d3, a6, e4, take. Yeah, the pieces came out like they do. Bishop c5, queen d7. Yeah. So.
It's equal.
In a way, equal, yeah. You can see there are some differences. For instance, this bishop here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not so good, right? It's sort of looking at this pawn here.
You have to move to f1 later on.
Yeah,
perhaps.
but then he looks at this pawn here.
Yeah.
Right. So there are some problems here for
White.
For white. Yeah, I think. I mean, it's a very safe king position, but if there is play on the queen side, then this bishop is not active.
Yeah, black
But
can
you
play
could
b4.
say, of course, the same thing about this.
Yeah.
But you have bishop f8, and maybe you can, I don't know, if you can move here and you have some play on this diagonal. But I agree with you, it's fairly equal. But I'm not sure it will be a draw, because it's quite a lot of play, lots of pieces left.
Yeah, also b4 is threatening now, or maybe.
Yeah. There are some weaknesses here, and the white queen is not so well placed. So yeah, let's go forward. So we have the Percivaldi against Livaik, and we were here.
Yeah, when it took on c3,
Yeah,
it took back.
queen e7, and now he played castling here. And so you can take on e3, but of course, if you take, I guess, if you take this pawn, it at least feels dangerous, because you get the pawn, but you've lost some time, and white is going to gain more time with rook e1, maybe at some point even rook f3, rook g3, and you have you have the bishops and the queen, and the rook pointing down to the, probably dangerous. So in the game, he instead, after castling, he played rook d8, rook f3, bishop e6, bishop d3, h6, and the evaluation bar goes up with every move, and now this looks really nice for white, don't you think?
Yeah, white was able to move e4, and that was the idea to take on c3 was to make it unable to move the e4.
Yeah, you wanted to blockade, yeah.
Yeah, but white managed.
Yeah.
And
let's go back and see how this actually did happen. So here he played rook d8. To me, this is a little bit surprising, but
maybe there's not time to do it.
I just don't why do you go there?
Yeah.
Because for me, normally I would put, if I would put this rook anywhere, I would go here.
Yeah, to prevent
and then I would
e4.
take the other rook here, and I would like to have this bishop pointing down at e4 somehow. I thought black was going to play
b5, maybe bishop b7.
At some point play this move and get the bishop here and really try to hold this.
It's a nice idea, and it would have prevent e4.
Maybe there are reasons, probably there are reasons that this is not possible, but rook d8, it doesn't do anything for this plan. On the contrary, it prevents it blocks the rook here. So it's a very strange move. Probably there's some really good analysis behind it, but it might be I'm not so sure. So rook f3, bishop e6, bishop d3, h6, e4. There was a check. King h1, knight g4. It looks a bit strange to me.
What is the idea?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
What's the threat? Does he want to play something like queen to h5? Is that? But even that, I don't see the point of really. I mean, even a move like rook h3 is playable, right?
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to me it looks like the evaluation bar says that it's a big advantage for white, and that's what I would think too. I don't see black's play here. I don't think black has much play. Black is somehow trying to defend with some tactics, jumping with the knight and so on, but
is it threatening to take on d3?
yeah. Is that the point?
Or is it?
Well, let's say if black you take with the queen and then you check, knight takes, queen takes. How is that position? And then maybe some rook f1 maybe. White still has a very strong attack, even if you get that.
Yeah. Different colors of the the bishops.
I guess this is the point. Maybe to take here. But what happens if we play? We make a move here. We just make a move. Should we play this move? Oh, he plays b4.
He played b4.
Yeah, he played b4 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or rather, he played it 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
We should tell the audience that this webcast it's a delay on the moves, 15 minutes. It's an anti-cheating measure, and this tournament, Rilton Cup, is super protected from cheating, and they are checking all the players before they go into the hall with metal detectors and everything. So it's a showcase for anti-cheating.
But the b4 is interesting, I think.
Yeah,
it's a lot of opportunities. Also on the g7, attacking g7 with fortify with queen, bishop 2 maybe sometime.
Yeah. Well, I guess black will most likely move the queen back. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you could go here, for instance. This is possible. Or even down here, but I don't know why you would like to go that far off. I think I would settle
d6,
for this.
yeah.
This looks more. And then I don't know really what's happening. I guess if you play this move is not good at all, because then knight e3 actually wins in exchange.
Yeah.
Especially now that the queen is no longer. Before you could play queen f2, but now the queen is protected. So yeah, we could play. We could even go here. I mean, black only has these tricks. That's the only thing he has right now.
Yeah.
And as soon as the tricks are over and white can start the attack again, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, with the pawns.
Yeah. So it's not very easy here. I don't see what he's going to play. So knight bishop e1 is possible, but I think we will have to wait for more moves.
Yeah.
So we will jump.
Blomqvist.
So we look at Blomqvist, and I think we have to see where we were, and I think we were at this position, right?
Yes.
When I was proposing that white could maybe try to exchange the black squared bishop and occupy this square.
Yeah, and it seems to be a very good plan, I think.
Get the knight there. If you can exchange this guy, if you can exchange this for this down here, then everything would be nice. But in the game, black prevented this. He played this move. And now queen b8. Threatening the pawn, queen h4, knight d5. So black is active here and does not allow white to exchange anything, which is probably quite good. Bishop d3. It's a well-known
threat.
Yeah. Mate. But black does not want to be mated, so he plays f5. And Eric plays c4. Knight b4. Rook d1. Yeah, I think it's no problem for white to exchange the bishop because he can still hope to mark this as a weakness. This is still possible that this bishop could be weak. So the exchange is possible, but black did not exchange. He played c5. Bishop e3, queen c7, rook d2. I have a feeling that Eric has not managed to get what he wanted.
No, black is quite okay now, I think.
Yeah, black's position is superficially, you could say it's a bit weak with the pawn. He has 3 pawn islands, as we say.
Yeah,
white has only 3, but the pawns are quite good. I mean, he has the pawn on c5. It takes away a lot of squares, and this is actually the square where white would have liked to place his knight.
Yeah, but there's possibilities with e5, e4, f4 could come up.
Could come up.
Yeah, and also the bishop e7.
Bishop e7 is there, and the knight could take the bishop.
Yeah.
At some point. So overall, I think black is okay. I'm not thinking. I don't think black is.
The black position has been better, I think.
You think it's better? Yeah.
No, it has improved.
Yeah. It says it didn't look good at one point.
It's much better now.
Yeah, he has a much more prospects. There is also this rover idea to play rook here and then come here, or even here. So white's queen is a little bit. It's not so clear where this queen is going. Actually.
Yeah.
White is definitely not attacking in this position.
It has. The situation is changed a little bit. Black is improving.
But black has worse time.
Now 14 minutes.
So Eric has almost double time. And 20 moves to go.
So it will happen a lot now, I think.
Yeah, it will be intense. So let's go. So we have excuse me. We have the Grandmaster meeting. between the Norwegian Urkedal and Ralph Åkesson, old winner of the Rilton Cup. And White still has a pawn more, but he hasn't managed to break black.
No, and how can he continue White? White
Well-
is better, but how can he continue?
Well, I would like to triple. Let's say we play. I don't know. Let's say we go here. And he has to play. I think if he plays Rook G8,
But then it's H6.
then we have immediate collapse. Then we have
Yeah.
then White gets exactly everything he wants. So the only move he cannot give the G pawn, right? So this is the move. And I was thinking if you could play Bishop D3 or something and try it, but maybe H5. I just feel that something should be possible here. I don't know.
Should you defend the H5 with the queen first? G4? Then maybe
I was thinking, maybe if it was possible to play like something like this, because there could be a threat to take on F6 and take the rook, but I don't know what happens here. Take, and I guess take here.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
So maybe you could go with Queen G4 before?
Yeah, but how fine is it? Rook G6.
No, but instead of go with the Bishop D3, you defend the pawn on H5 first.
Yeah, but is
With the queen.
this bad? The F pawn is lost. So we keep the pawn up. But the problem is that, let's say black makes a move here, I don't know, some move. Let's make a king move. Rook F6. Maybe, I don't know, something like this. The question is this easier to win for White, this extra pawn, or to have the position? Maybe he had a better position before.
Yeah. But this is also promising, of course.
This is another alternative. So let's move back. So what did we have? So Queen G3 was the idea.
Yeah.
And then we said that he has to play Rook H8.
Yeah. Maybe Queen G4 here too.
Yeah, but this will still not be protected once you start taking on G7. Or? You want to take on F6, yeah? I understand. So let's... Okay, maybe we can do it better then. Should we... If we start with Queen G4, what happens?
Yeah.
And this. If we now play here, what happens?
Yeah.
Well, F2 is hanging. If we try to take on F6, then F2 is hanging. So then we need to play F4 first. But then E3 will be weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about now, if we play Queen G3, okay?
Yeah.
Rook H7. No. Rook H7. Let's say we play this move, H6. So you cannot take with a pawn, then the queen is lost here
Yeah.
due to the pin. So that's not possible. So he has to take with the rook. And let's say if you take on G7, I guess you lose then we get the same line again. You can take on G7, but what about this? Something like this, and maybe play here. The idea is to force the rook away and maybe to exchange queens, and then maybe these two are both weak, and then you have the H pawn still on the board.
Yeah, maybe this is interesting.
I don't know. Let's say you move the rook somewhere here. You go here. And yeah,
And then you can take the f6.
yeah.
This is more promising. Or can you defend it with knight d7?
You could also play something like here. Here.
And h5 and then take the other pawn.
Go here maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. Take the h pawn. Try to, because I think this pawn is much easier to get to the queening square, because these are good as they are. I don't know.
This is good.
Something like this. So that's what I'm thinking in this position. This is the current position in the game.
Yeah.
And
It's very promising for white.
yeah, probably one of the problems you can have when you play this type of position with white is you don't want to sacrifice back the pawn. But probably to break this position you need to do that.
Yeah, but you get the pawn back again.
Yeah, then
It's
later
a
on
force,
you get,
yeah.
because black's position is so
Yeah. And then you get rid of the double pawn and you get a better pawn
yeah.
that can be promoted.
Yeah, I think h6 is a very important move to play at some point and just break through, and then you pick up the pieces afterwards. Okay, we'll see what happens.
Very
Interesting. Yeah, let's go to the next. So we have, where are we there? And we go to the young guys. Oh, whoa. What a position. But white is a rook down, that's not so good.
Yeah.
So he has very, very nice pawns, but he is lacking a rook. I think we could conclude that this is very bad.
Yeah,
So
this is...
The young guy from Taipei, we have to see how this happened, but his game has not gone the right way. We had this position.
Yeah, and it was fair. Yeah.
And we said it should be equal. Okay, so Platon
h5.
played h5. And now he played knight d5. I don't know why he plays that. He doesn't have to play that. I mean, if I had this position, I would think in terms of maybe rook ad1 or, you know, something like that. I think bishop g5 is probably not so much, because then you could just play knight g4 check, right? This.
Yeah.
And you don't have. This is even dangerous, because now, yeah, it's you don't want to do this before in front of your king. But I think it's a little premature. Maybe this move, rook ad1, looks good. Just keep everything. But he wanted to do this. Okay. Bishop takes. E takes. Of course, white is fine here, but now black. This is a typical Benoni position, and black has a very healthy position with the bishop on g7. The knight can jump to d7 and e5 at some point. There's h4 in there.
The knight is better than the bishop on g2.
Yeah, and there is a b5 move coming. So suddenly black has all these good things. And black has some problems, and he played h4, very logical move. But that's actually a little bit of a sacrifice. He threatens to maybe to take here. I mean, that's the question. Can he take there?
Yeah, it's a threat, I think.
So maybe h4. I mean, he played h4, but I'm not sure that's. Well, let's see what happened. Maybe it's good. It's almost impossible to just see if it's good or bad. So he took, Oh. Why can't it just
Couldn't take.
What happens? This looks.
He doubles the pawns. Rook e8.
My guess
Or
or feeling is that this should be better for white, because in this position the bishop on g7 is not very effective. White has the queen against two rooks, and he has these very strong pawns in the center and the pair of bishops. So I don't believe this is good, but it turned out to be good.
why didn't he do that?
Yeah, I would take here. Why not? And he plays some move like here, and probably you can play maybe this to prevent rook e2.
Mm.
Of course, it's scary to play this with white, because you're very much afraid that he will get his rook into the position and so on. But the bishops are very good at defending, so it's not easy for these rooks to attack the white king. But it's a bit scary. Okay.
Mm.
So he played bishop b4, rook e3, bishop d6, rook e8. But now we cannot play bishop f3.
Aha, it's a difference.
So maybe this is not as strong. Maybe it was best. Now he had to play bishop f1, which is not quite as comfortable, because now knight e4, and yeah, bishop f4, rook f3. Yeah.
Threatening f2.
Now white couldn't manage anymore, because he collapsed a little bit here, because he played d6, which I think is quite a big mistake, because there is a rook f2 winning the queen.
Mm.
So this is where the queen is lost for only one rook. But the position might still be playable here, but very dangerous and difficult position for white now, because black certainly has a lot of compensation. So d6 came, and rook f2, take. Yeah, he's thinking here.
It's a rook down. A rook is a rook.
Yeah, they say they say so.
Yeah.
So what would you play with? Like, would you take the bishop with the knight, or would you take on b4?
I would take the bishop.
Yeah, I think I would too.
And then you can defend the pawn.
He actually did take right
Yeah.
at this moment. He took, and of
Yeah.
course he has to take back like this,
Yeah,
and he did.
rook d7.
Yeah.
Oj.
There's also the possibility just bishop f8 and take,
Yeah.
and then win with the exchange. I don't know if that's the best, but let's say it's black's move, and let's say it goes here.
And he
And
takes.
he takes. Let's say we take this just to clarify everything. I don't know what to play. a3.
Mm.
Now we move the king over here, and then we start taking these pawns. This is winning. Black has nothing here. White has nothing.
No.
This must be easy winning. It takes some time. You have to move the
Yeah.
king over to protect, and then you start picking up pawns. Okay, so
Yeah.
this should be a win for.
And then he has two wins. The young guy from Ukraine.
Yeah, and we have a result here.
Mm.
Eric unfortunately lost the game. We were here, I think. The Chigorin, Spanish.
Yeah.
We had this maneuvering with the knight coming from f6 to h5 here, and then it went here. But unfortunately, it's not doing so much. And it was actually captured here. Knight e2.
He lost the pawn here.
Yeah. And yeah, I think this what Eric did in this game is typical. If you haven't played this line a lot, because you cannot play with the knight here. I mean, it doesn't. In the long run, you're going to lose. You have one piece less.
Yeah.
So if you start attacking on this side with just one or two pieces, and you still have this here, it doesn't work. So you need to make this regrouping. It takes a lot of time, but then you can attack. But if you play with the knight on b7, it's and I say that with some experience on my own, because I've had the same thing.
Yeah.
Made the same mistake as Eric did in this game.
So
not exactly, but the concept.
So how did it continue now?
Yeah.
F5.
Now he played. Now he was impatient. Of course, his position is not good, and then he plays. But f5, of course, opens up his position for a white attack. But the position is already bad. He's losing a pawn. But yeah, and this knight, it's horrible. I mean, it's going nowhere. And when it goes to d8, there is still no move. So it has to get to f7. This is you have to play that plan. It's the only plan you can play. Everything else is just hopeless. Okay, so yeah. So what happened now was he played f5. Desperation, I would say. Take, and these exchanges have not helped so much. Of course, the knight can go here now, but now it's too late because white is first. So this happened, and
that was nice.
Now if he plays here,
take on f4.
Yeah, you can take it. You can give a check, or you can take. I don't know. Maybe you give a check. You can go. I don't know. Knight here, maybe queen takes. No, knight e6 was even. No, knight 6. Now it's threatening knight e6. Yeah, this is winning. And it's this knight is not so good.
It never participated in the game.
So it was here. And he took the check. He played knight e6. Yeah, we can see that this is horrendous for black.
It's awful.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
The queen is threatened, the f pawn is threatened.
And he can't move the knight.
Rook f8 is maybe not a big threat right now, but this is a check. Rook h8 taking on h7 is a threat. Everything is threatened. And black is trying to defend with a knight on b7 that cannot move.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. So he decides to exchange. Give the exchange. Finally the knight moves. But it's forced back into the stable again. Queen e4. Resigns. Yeah. It's over because you have to protect the knight. So you have to go here.
But it was also a very interesting game, I think.
Check.
Yeah.
You have to go with the queen. Check. And you take.
It was a beautiful game.
Yes.
I think.
Yes, I think Jesper Tybo, the Danish player, played an excellent game, and he really he really knew how to treat this Chigorin defense. This d5 move is a key move. It's not the only move, and it's actually not the most played move. But I think with the computer analysis, the computer likes to play d5 in this position. But I think in the old days it was very popular to play knight d2 here and jump around with the knight and maybe go back, play d5 later on. But I have noticed that the computer in this type of position likes to do d5 and immediately put this knight on a difficult square. You can play, you can try to play knight c4 here, but I think you play, I think maybe just b3, knight b6, and then you play something like a4, and yeah. I think Richard Reti, he wrote a book about about players, different players. He gave player profiles, and I remember he wrote something that a4, when white plays a4 in Spanish, the idea is to block the queen side and then to attack on the king side.
Yeah,
and that's like we saw in this game, that can happen. So okay,
I like white very much.
Yeah, this was a good game.
Yeah, he played very good.
He played well. So let's go to the next game. Now this is the game we followed, and we had this. Let's go back, remind ourselves where we were. It was this f6, and white played a little bit unusual f5 idea, but black just secured the center here, knight f6 as we said, and then e4, bishop e2, rook h7. Yeah, and the question was, where does white castle? It's not so easy, but he castled kingside, queen d6, bishop f4, queen c5, check, king h1 on d4. He plays tough here, the Finnish player. Toivo Keinonen plays with his center pawns, and yeah, but I see that here the evaluation bar is at almost level.
Yeah.
So obviously somewhere here, maybe this queen d6 is not the right way to play for black. And
but it seems to be okay.
It's okay, but
yeah.
Now, yeah, maybe it's okay. I don't know. Yeah. White misses. He has a move here. He can take here on e4. Right. Let's say bishop f5. Play here. Because there's a problem here.
Yeah.
And there's a
if he moves
attack here, and
but
there's a problem here.
Oh, he just take it.
Yeah, then you take it. So after d4,
it was a winning move, was it?
It's not winning, but it was a way to break.
Yeah, but from a bad position to a good position.
Yeah.
So
but he played knight a4.
Yeah.
And suddenly black can consolidate, and he has the pawns on the center, and knight is off to a4, doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, knight d4 had been beautiful.
c4, queen a5, b4. takes. Rook b1, queen a5. White is
But the pawns are strong.
generous. No. I think white. I don't know what you can do, but if you don't take on d4 now, black will consolidate, and then you have problems. So let's see what happens. Take. Some move here, bishop here maybe. The idea is to take and take on e4. Yeah, some compensation, right? But not much. I would take black. For sure.
Yeah.
So unclear what white can do here.
It's threat to take on f6 right now. So
Yeah,
you have to.
yeah, I don't know. What happens if we make a normal move here? I don't know what the normal move is in this. The problem is the rook is a bit unprotected. I guess the threat is to take and to take.
Yes.
And then you get threat here, and maybe you get some threat down there. But the queen protects right now, but still it could be something. So not so clear. Okay.
Yeah, and another game maybe.
Let's go forward. So this
Oh.
game is over. So where were we? Yeah, we were here somewhere, right? No, we were here.
Hmm.
We were here.
Yeah, we
And-
discussed c5 and
Taking on c5, bishop b5, things like this. But white went for the classical approach with g3, queen c6, knight f5, threatening a nasty check here. So he played king h8, went out of it, and g4. This is a well-known type of plan in these positions. You keep the pawns here, you don't play e4, and then you go for g4. Yeah, it's not so bad. g6, not d6, b6. So black is not doing so much, just trying to protect himself. And now comes interesting move, c4.
surprising move.
A little bit surprising, I agree. So the question is, what's up? Yeah, now he played the king to g8.
Why?
Which seems a little bit, I don't know.
Why?
Yeah, white has a threat in this position. White's threat is to play e4. Because whichever way black takes, you can always play d5 afterwards. If you take on d4, you take on c5, on d5 with the c pawn. If you take any of the pawns, you play d5. Then you gain more space.
But you can take back with the knight. Can you? d5.
No, let's see. It happened in the game actually. So king g8, he played e4.
Yeah, but this is another situation because now you can take move d5.
Yeah, well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
White threatens to play.
Yeah.
He threatens to play e4 and then d5.
Yeah, but now we can maybe take on d4 or c4.
Yeah, in this position.
Yeah.
And I think he should take maybe here, something like this. I don't know. But then maybe again e4 is problematic. Maybe it's simply not so good for black in this situation.
But rook g8, king g8 was
Yeah,
a little bit passive.
maybe. What happened now was e4. And yeah, it's not nice because we could just look at one sample line here. Let's say you take this pawn here. Then comes d5. Where do you go with the king? With the queen? Let's say go here. You take.
Now it's over.
Now you threaten
Yeah. So
here, and you threaten to play f5 or e5. I mean.
followed by e6.
Yeah. So it's just crushing. So in the game after e4, he took on d4, and there was a take on d5, queen c5, queen d3, and now white has taken over the center completely. Threatened to play rook c1, and yeah, it's not so good. So the game ended like this: h5, c1, queen a5, h3, very solid. And black takes a pawn. What else can he do? It's very difficult. This octopus knight here, which it's worth. I think it's worth a rook, isn't it? If you have a knight on a central square on the 6th rank, I think it's considered to be worth a rook. Yeah. According to the classical valuation. Queen a2, queen d4, queen e2, rook f1,
That's terrible.
rook a d1, rook f2, queen a6. That's beautiful. Queen is trapped.
Yeah.
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 So
Interesting.
Everything went quite badly for him. So then we have this game. Kusuksari against Savatsky. And we saw this here, I think. And there was an exchange. We said this was equal, but somehow, and this looks very equal to me. Of course, the bishop is a strong piece, but you have the d5 square, and it seems to be okay. But now things are happening here. Bishop knight c8, knight e5, knight b6, bishop a6, g5, a4. Yeah. H5, G3, G4. Well, white has some play now, I think. The a-pawn is far advanced, and at some point he might be able to take on a7. Right now I think it's not possible due to rook a8. So if we do this, black has this. And
Yeah.
things you cannot play rook b7 due to the knight, but what do we play here? If black could get some knight to this square here, you know, something like this, and then the rook could come in somehow. It's not possible, but maybe you could open the h file and get the rook here or something. Then suddenly you could get a very strong attack with two knights and a rook. It could be made easily, but
Yeah.
but
Black cannot do anything with a knight threatening a pawn on a7. So what can he?
But could white play this move? My idea is you can protect here and you can take. I don't know. I don't know how dangerous it is.
I like the idea.
I mean, the game is definitely not over. There's still a fight here. What happens? Can you protect? Let's just try this. Take. Some rook move maybe here. The problem for white is that the pawns are not so strong. So d4 is weak. And there's always this final counter-offensive with the rook and knight against the king, white king. You take this pawn, for instance, and you could get the rook here, and maybe the knight can swing over here or something, and there could be some threats. I don't know.
Should he keep the a pawn or?
Yeah, white's only chance is to keep the a pawn, right? If he wants to win. So let's see it again. Here, take. Well, of course you don't have to take.
But directly.
Maybe you should play some other move here. Maybe you should move the pawn up.
Yeah.
But maybe then you can play the knight and protect, and you're not getting anywhere. No, then you can take on a7 anyway because b6 is high. Okay, so a6 maybe. This might be better. Yeah, this is. We'll just have to wait and see. It's a tough game. So let's see what we had. We had Edwin.
Edwin Trost.
Still equal, right? I don't think white has a real advantage here. Maybe a slight advantage, but it's
so little.
Yeah. Because how do you break? How do you break through? That's the question. But I mean, it's always better to have your pawns on the fourth, and you have the king on d4. I mean, this is not valueless. There is some point to it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So maybe Edwin has at least
a chance.
At least a draw, I would say. I don't think you lose this with white. I think you sometimes lose it with black, but I don't think you lose with white. Then we have Milton. And we had this intricate position with the knights. Let's see this. We had this thing. You remember this guy?
Yeah.
It was this position, and there was a4.
Yeah.
f6. There was an exchange. The knight back, and then he played this to prevent b5. Oh, sorry.
No.
We will move back quickly. Yeah, in this position, if it's white's move, I think you just play here. And you break the pawns, and then you try to attack these weak pawns. Classical minority attack. But black prudently moves his knight back, protecting b5, and prevents white's attack. So let's see what happened. Knight f4, it goes the other way. Queen f7, rook a b1, rook a c8. Now came an interesting move here. h5.
Unexpected.
But that's
maybe g6 and put the Queen on G7.
Yeah. I think instead of H5, I would probably try G5. I understand the idea. He wants to expand on the, because black normally in these types of positions,
Mm.
black would try to expand on the king side and get the because he has the e4 and he has the rover possibilities. So he could come with at some point with a rook on the third, like something like this, and go for some sort of attack. Of course, he needs to bring back the to push the f pawn, but that could be part of the plan, and then push the pawns. But he played h5. It's an unusual move, and white went for this. Okay, which is very normal reaction to. I think a lot of players would make this move, right?
Yeah.
And then there was an exchange.
It's equal.
Yeah. But somehow black has blocked. He has blocked this square.
Mm.
And
He can continue.
this is
Continue
white's,
the other side.
yeah, this is sort of white's only play in this position.
Continue with the f5.
Yeah, but black can
Get the
try,
e5 then.
try to get something going here. I mean, you could, try to break with this. But I agree with you. It should be pretty equal. But okay, he moves the knight back. Yeah. Well, black is preferable, but it's.
As soon as he moves the knight, the b5 can come. So it's not that easy.
No. But black has this nice square for the knight.
Mm.
It blocks white. And it can at some point jump forward to c4. Here or here. At the same time as it blocks this. So, yeah. This knight doesn't really have a good square. It's been jumping around,
Yeah.
It was on c5 and now it's on f3 and it was on d3. But it's not really doing much.
Could if it moved to c3 and b5 or
Yeah, that would be an idea if you could go there.
yeah.
So
Maybe rook c5 was not good enough. Maybe knight d2, b1, c3, and have the rook down here.
maybe, I don't know. Let's try it. I like the idea. I don't know. Should black go for something here? Or
Yeah,
what?
but then they can go back maybe.
Yeah, maybe then we go back. Then maybe we can jump here.
And then you have b5.
Then you have b5. Maybe we take like this now and go for the a pawn.
Interesting.
Well, this is still not clear, but yeah, there are possibilities.
Yeah.
There are possibilities. Okay, let's go to the next game. I think we cannot really. We get the feeling that Milton has some chances in this game, but it's not clear. So let's see. Yeah, I think we've seen all the games. I don't think we have followed any of the other games. So maybe we stick with these games now because.
Yeah.
So we go back.
It was a draw.
It was a draw, yeah. So we need to check that. So let's see, where were we now? We had this position, right?
Mm.
And he played bishop f8. very reasonable idea to get to d6 here and mate. But white played your idea, bishop e1, bishop d6, and f4, no mate today, and c5, and rook f3. So white is pushing back hard on the king side. Knight e4 takes, g4. Now it looks like white has some, but not really any big chances, right? g3, g2, e5, c1, rook a8, c4, queen b8. Aha, with the draw offer. Is it the Sofia rules here? You can offer draw after 30, move 30? Is that the case? I don't know.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah. Anyway, here they took a draw. And I get the feeling that in this position actually white has the best prospects. That's what I feel. I see more chances. So we move on to board number 2, and we have an exceptionally even position still between Smirin and Sokolovsky. This seems to be heading towards a draw, right?
Yeah, even though white has a scene with the rook to c line, it's not possible to go anywhere.
You cannot enter.
No.
It's opposite colored bishops. Both have a strong knight, and they are equally strong. No, this is as level as it gets. So we will quickly leave this.
Board 4. Something happened in board 4. What?
Well, let's see this game. Did we check this? I'm not sure we did. This game became a draw. Okay, so white didn't use his perfect play here. We had this. Check. So there was he played queen c6 here. And that was, then there was no threat anymore, so h3, knight f6. And now he took on f6.
And it was a draw.
Yeah, but he gives away everything when he takes on f6, right? It's a queen exchange, and suddenly, okay, it's a sort of weakness to have a double f pawn, but it's a very small weakness, and you will gladly trade. So in this move is a blunder if you want to win, but if you want to make a draw, it's of course maybe a good move. Even though I think it's usually better to go for a win and make a draw rather than going for a draw and make a draw. And according to the computer, by taking on f6, white loses 3.3 from being plus 3.5.
Why did
he goes back to 0?
Oh, yeah.
So
he was satisfied with the draw.
I think so. Let's see what happened. He took. There was exchange. More exchanges. Yeah, here they took a draw. Move 31.
Yeah.
You could say it's a lucky escape for Leon Liviak, because his position was really bad. But you know, the strong are always lucky. Okay, then we
Go
have
Prince.
Eric. Oh, Eric has blundered. He is losing. It seems. This is the position. Let's take stock. What's happening here? Well, yeah, it's mate. Bishop takes g3, very strong move. Now we cannot go to h4, mate in 1. And if he goes down, can you take on f2? Actually, he should have played in this position here. This was bishop takes e3 was the best move here, but I think here he can play just this move. Here, 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 mate.
Yeah, beautiful.
So there was an immediate mate, but instead he played queen f3, which is also strong. King h2, queen f2. That's a sad day for Eric.
Yeah.
Well, the game is not over, but I mean
It's over.
it's over.
Hmm.
Yeah, probably you're right. So we will have to move back, and well, maybe we should see the end here. Will black manage to find the winning? If black does not win this, then he will be quite sad he missed mate in 3 with queen g4. That was very easy. But black has less time. It's always difficult.
It's 1 minute. How many moves?
Well, 38, so now black has 3 moves to make. You get, I think you get 30 seconds per move. So he has, in reality, he has like 2.5 minutes, but still, it's yeah, it's not so easy. You know, he could check, so he takes. I think he could play something like this. Check. I don't know, where do you go? You don't want to go to the g file, because then I can check and take the pawn with the queen. So you have to try this, and then you go here. And if you go up to the g file, I check and take with the queen. If you go here, I have a little check here, and then the knight comes.
Yeah. Beautiful again.
I think that's the probably. Yeah, he played queen e2. Yeah, that's good. It's good. He has found it now. As soon as he takes with the queen on g6. I mean, let's say white goes here. Now then you can again take here. No, then that's not so clear, because then
mate.
Then it's mate. Sorry, but
You have to check.
Check here, and
G6.
something here, and then you just take. You can also, if you want to, just take with the pawn, actually, because completely lost.
It's better to take with the pawn, maybe.
Yeah, but I guess
Yeah.
both are good, but this is
Yeah.
probably the best. So yeah.
Oh, that was bad for
Okay.
Eric.
So probably he will play this now. Queen d1, and yes, he did. He played queen d1. And Eric
It's losing.
yeah. Did he resign? I think he resigned because the clock stopped. I think this was the end. So let's
Yeah.
go back.
Frode and Åkesson, what happens?
Shouldn't we just quickly see what happened
Yeah.
in this game? Because we analyzed this and we said that black had... I think we were here and we said this looks not so bad for black. We had ideas for black here. We talked about maybe
Yeah.
to
Black improved a
roll
lot.
with the rook, and we said
Yeah.
that bishop b7, and we said at some point e5, and we had many ideas. So in the game, white played rook d2, bishop d7, rook a d1, and he took this bishop here. I'm not sure I would have played it this way with black, but this is not bad. And now white has white's good position is not so good anymore, right?
No, the pawns are...
The pawns are bad and
Yeah.
difficult to play, and ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Black played well.
Yes. And now came this. Now we are heading towards this. And now this. But here he missed. The easiest win was the queen and mate. I think he won the game. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, they are playing, but it's lost. Yeah, so he went for this line. So now black is choosing between taking with the pawn or taking with the queen. Both wins, so it doesn't matter what he plays. It's just equally good. He can also check a little if he wants to, but I think I would take with the pawn.
Yeah, because the queen is off.
Yeah, and you still have an attack.
Yeah, you can
And,
knight f3 and
it's easy win.
threaten to mate and...
So let's jump. Nah. Yeah, he's clearly better, but he didn't play exactly like we said. But we have to give him credit for finding his way. So here, queen g3, rook h7, and he played h6.
Yes.
Bishop h5, rook a7,
Exactly.
bishop g6, h5, we could have gone for the h-pawn, but he played rook f8, knight e7, yeah, this must be winning. This must be winning. If you can exchange the bishop for the knight, it seems to be quite easy. You can move your king over, but it's still there's still some sort of problem with these pawns. I mean, when you move the f pawn, the e pawn becomes weak, And if you play f3 e4, well, there are always some weakness in this formation. They are best like this, right? It would have been better to have the pawn on d2 and pawn on f4, because then I don't know if it's so much better, but maybe it could be better, easier to get a.
Should he change now?
That's the question. What happens? Maybe it's not so easy. I don't know. Should you play some?
Put the rook on the f6.
Because if you start moving here, I mean, then it becomes weak, everything. It's not super simple. It's not super simple. I would say it could be much more difficult than it looks.
Is it better to keep the bishop then?
Yeah, that's the question. It might be better. It might, because the knight is not so strong here. But again, maybe to win you have to sacrifice the e3 pawn or something, you know. And
can you go for the b7?
Yeah, maybe. But that wouldn't end the game if you win. Even if you take that pawn, that wouldn't be. Black still has a fairly solid position on the queen side. If you lose the f pawn, for instance. Well, it's still not clear, but it's certainly good for white. But I wouldn't like to bet too much on a win for white. I would think it's very likely, but I don't know. So what happened then? Yes, the Ukrainian, the young man from Ukraine, he won. So he took the bishop, as we said. Played bishop f8. Aha, he didn't take on b7. For some reason. Yeah, well, there are many moves you can play with b8 maybe, and yeah. And then b6.
Aha, it's the same.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Now he starts picking up pawns, and then it's easy win. Nice win. And we have this game. Here nothing has happened. I wonder if it's working, the board.
Should have happened something.
Well, maybe the game is over. Maybe because time is out. Is that possible? Is it possible that white lost on time in this position?
Yeah, perhaps.
Could that be it? But it doesn't say anything here. Okay, we go to this one. Nothing has happened here either. Okay. So Trost
Draw.
made a draw. So this was the final position. Yeah, we can imagine how that happened. We saw something like, I thought we saw this, right?
Yeah.
And there was some movement of the pawns, but now of course it's nothing. Yeah. And yeah. So we go back to Smirin. Nothing has happened. Could they have taken a draw here, maybe? I don't know. Blomqvist, nothing's happening. Åkesson, nothing is happening. Yeah. I think we'll take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Och så kan du kolla om länkarna funkar för det.